Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video I'm going to be going over the next 6 ring. Okay, so before I actually get into the whole video, I will be doing this for each and every video, especially for those of you that can only watch one video in the first place. But I'm going to be talking about some stuff before I actually get completely into the 6 rings, so that way I can clear your mind and help you understand where I'm actually going with this video, or when I'm talking about abilities and what's not, so that way you understand more what I'm talking about. It makes more sense to you, to be fairly honest. And I'm giving you a second head, so when I actually get into it, it already gave you the info and what you need to know, so that way it's pretty much common sense for you at that point. You pretty much already know beforehand I even talk about the abilities. Okay, so the first thing I want to go over is the damage chart. Cut in action. Okay, so here is the damage chart. I'm not going to be talking about defenses, because defenses are not going to be the things that improve your DPS. They're going to be decreasing your DPS, and defense varies between each and every enemy, so I'm not even going to be talking about that, to be fairly honest. I'm not even worried about the whole defense part. I'm actually going to be worried about the attack part of this element chart. So as you can see right here, we have stats, whether it's attack, magic attack, or both. We have ability power, total ability power, by the way. So it's all of the ability power combined in each and every move and what's so not. And I'll talk about that in a second if you're confused about total ability power, because pretty much it's like, let's say you have a multi-hitting move, it's ability power 40, but it hits 3 times. You gotta pretty much do 40 times 3. That's 120 ability power. That's the total ability power right there. And then we got the elements. So those are the 3, at least pretty much main factors. There are some small factors involved and some side factors occasionally, like procs, or uses the attack or magic attack stat, stuff like that affects the damage output as well. But these are pretty much the main factors, the main factors of what your damage is going to be looking like and what's so not. Of course, defense is going to reduce it, and damage reflection, damage reduction, all that stuff, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how you can increase your damage, not decrease your damage. Okay, so as you can see right there, that's pretty much what I want to show you, so you're not in confusion when I'm actually talking about the ability power of the moves and what's so not. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about, since you understand the damage chart, or let me actually clear your mind actually right before I actually get into this about the ability chart. Okay, so let me actually try to get a really strong move on board. Mage. Okay, let's look at the mage's moves. Okay, so right here we have Emperor's Bind, and then we got Starburst. Okay, so some of you might be confused. For some of you this is pure common sense already, but for some of you might be confused. It may look a bit confusing, but Starburst by far is the stronger predecessor compared to Emperor's Bind, all hands down. The reason for this being is Emperor's Bind has an ability power of 190, right? But this is only one hit. It deals damage, magic damage to one enemy. It does not hit more than once, so that's only 190 ability power. But if you look at Starburst has an ability power of 70, and it hits 5 times. So if you actually multiply 70 times 5, that's 350 ability power. It's actually 350 ability power, because each one of those hits is 70 AP, and since it's hitting 5 times in one move, that's 350 total ability power, and that right there is extremely stronger than Emperor's Bind. So that's what I mean by total ability power. So if you're confused why people are using Dragon's Claw or Starburst or any of that funky jazz, that is because it has a total ability power and it's higher. It may not look like it by first looks, to be fairly honest. When I first started this, I was really confused why people were using moves like these, because I always thought these had low ability power, but that's not the case, because they're looking at the total ability power. They're not looking at just the ability power alone. I was confused when I first started, so if you were confused, if you're first starter or anything like that, I want to clear that out of your head so that way you completely understand where I'm going with this. Of course, there's a success value. If it's not 100, or if it does just to say damaging like this, it's going to miss sometimes. At least it's not going to miss a lot, because considering that has a success value of 80, but it's going to miss some. But anyways, moving on from there. Okay, so I understand what you mean, AzureWrath, and what's not, but which one would be better? A multi-hitting move that has the same ability power, or a single hitting move? As a Lancer, let's say Double Sting. Double Sting attacks twice, and it's obviously in its move, and it shows it right here. And Dragon Crush had the same ability power. Which one would you recommend? if they just had like ability power hits, like there wasn't no added effect. They have added effects right here, but if they had no added effects or anything like that, right, I would tell you double sting would be the better choice. The reason that double sting would be the better choice is because if you get an ability power buff, or you decrease their ability power, like let's say you're using like a Dragon's Cry, for example, increases the ability power of damage taken by all enemies by 20 for like 40 seconds. If you do like a ability power debuff for the enemy team, or you do an ability power buff, right, double sting is going to get the better of it. See, by default, they do the same damage, so it really doesn't matter for that. But like if you get ability power buffs, right, double sting's going to get more, because like let's say they're both 200. I'm not sure if I said they're both 300, but let's say they're both 200. Double sting, since it attacks twice, since it says it would say like an ability power of 200 and it would attack twice per se, for example, both of those hits would be having an ability power increase of 20. So both of those hits, not just the whole attack, but both of those hits would have that 20 ability power increase, while Dragon Crush only hits one time, so only one of the hits will get a 20 ability power increase. Now you can see the difference. Since this one hits twice, both of those hits are going to be getting both of those, not one, but both. So there's a 20 ability power difference now in Dragon Crush and Double Sting. If they were both 200 ability power and you got an ability power buff of 20, there would be a 20 difference now, since this one hits twice and both of those hits get the ability power increase. So that's what I wanted to really share with you first. Okay, so the next thing is the before meta. I actually want to talk about the strongest moves beforehand so you understand how much of a buff we got. Okay, so the first thing, the first strongest #1 move that we had before 6 ring is, I don't know if I said before meta, but let me rephrase that. Before 6 ring, the strongest move we had before 6 ring is all hands down Kill Dance was the nastiest move. Kill Dance right here has an ability power of 130 and attacks it's going to be a random target, so it's semi-crowd control, but if you're attacking one enemy, it really hurts them. It attacks a random target 5 times with magic damage. That is a lot of ability power. That is a lot of ability power. That is the hardest hitting move before the 6 rings come out, and it's actually still the second hardest hitting move, tied with all the soldiers moves that I'll talk about in a second, or probably third place, but anyways, I'll talk about that in a second. So before 6 rings came out, Kill Dance was the strongest move by far. The next strongest move, I don't have it, so I sadly can't really like explain it like per like in like visual, like in your face, but I can show you in here. I don't have it yet. It would be, where is it? I know it's somewhere here. Linkage Arrow. Linkage Arrow has an ability power a total of 400. It's ability power 100 and it damages 4 times. So that right there is a total of 400 ability power, and that right there was pretty dang strong before 6 rings. Now it's still strong after 6 rings, but it's not like the beta, like it's not game breaking ability power anymore, sadly. So yeah, that was the strongest move before 6 rings. The second strongest one is Linkage Arrow. The third one was actually, believe it or not, it was actually Starburst. Starburst was actually, well, if it all of them hit, Starburst was the third strongest move, because Starburst also, on top of it, you ignore damage reflection and damage reduction, so that's very, very nasty. And then from there, it's pretty much like the archer's moves, like Deadly Arab, Arrow of Strength, and then Diminishing Shot, because they're multi-hitting ability power. From there, it just like starts to decline. So yeah, from there, that's pretty much before the 6 rings came out. So yeah, I hope this helped, and let me actually get into the actual class of the 6 ring that I actually
Alright, so for this video,
I'm actually going to be talking about the Soldier 6 ring. So let's get into it. Okay, so with the Soldier 6 ring, right? The Soldier 6 ring is actually like the Archer and Soldiers are going to be meta, and I'll talk about that in a second. But anyways, moving first, I actually want to talk about the percentages. The percentages they have for the Soldier, right? Pretty much indicates that, like, the percentages they have for all skill trees on all classes, they pretty much indicate that they're going to have a higher gap of power between each and every cost. So now each and every cost, each and every individual gear piece for each and every individual cost now has a huge, bigger gap. Thanks to these percentages, because these percentages are also going to give a higher total based on the flat stat, because it's multiplying. It's pretty much multiplying. So if you have a higher flat stat being like the actual stats of like the weapons or the gear or whatever you're looking at, like without any extra boost, that's what flat stats mean. you're legitimately getting a higher like overall total amount thanks to that. So the gap between each and every cost is going to be higher now thanks to that. But anyways, moving on from there, let's talk about the moves. We have Crystal Blade to start off with. Ability power of 100. Physical damage that uses both attack and defense enemy 3 times. Reduces action speed of NPC, and then cost recovery speed of like an actual person. This move right here is pretty good, though I can't recommend it. Only because it's only usable when HP is at 60% or above. If it wasn't for that, I would recommend this move because this move's pretty good, to be fairly honest. And it does a good amount of damage on top of it. So yeah, this move would probably be used a lot more. Definitely I would recommend this move myself if it didn't have that HP lock with it. But yeah, since it has that HP lock with it, I can't vouch for this move. I can't really say too much about this move. So yeah. Okay, so moving on from there, I'm not even going to talk about these moves if they're not really worth it, to be fairly honest. I'm just going to tell you why they're not worth it and then move on to save you time and save me a lot of energy too. So yeah, okay. We got Iron Fortress right here. Iron Fortress is an ability power of 160. It only attacks once, but it also blasts the target for 10 seconds with a success value of 70, and then reduces damage taken by your character for 20 for 5 seconds. This move right here, I personally don't think this move is going to be all too worth it. If you're really looking for damage reduction, just throw on a barrier. Seriously, throw on a barrier. It's a lot more helpful, a lot more resourceful, a lot more efficient. Just, I'm not sure about the casting speed compared to this one. But anyways, yeah, personally, I personally do not recommend this move whatsoever. Maybe for player versus player though. Other than that, I can't really see it because there is a small window of opportunity. Right here, it only lasts for 5 seconds, and then this move takes 7 seconds, so that's around 7 minus 5 equals 2. That's a 2-second window right there. That's not bad at all. So that means almost instantly right after you cast it, you can keep it going and keep it going and keep it going. The only issue with that is it's going to keep costing 12 costs, and on top of it, you're just doing it over and over and over and over. You could be potentially even losing DPS, worrying about putting damage reduction on you. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I personally don't think Iron Fortress is going to be good for player versus player. You could try it out. Other than that, I cannot vouch for this move whatsoever. Iron Fortress is kind of there, to be fairly honest with you. Okay, so moving on from there, we got Imperial Territory. Imperial Territory is made as possible and as can be. This literally makes Unison, Omen, and Negative Pressure a lot less resourceful than they originally were, so it really sets them back, to be like honest with you, like on all levels, because it applies a reliant state to one ally and adjacent allies. That means a maximum of 3 allies that nullifies use of gauge reduction one time. If you're rocking treasure hunters and you got this, you're not going to be able to unison down them. Honestly, what I'm thinking right now is like unison down moves like Unison Omen. Unison Omen can still be used because regardless of the treasure hunters, the only thing that's protecting it is this. Treasure hunters could be protected against Unison Omen, but you're gonna need multiple of them before Unison Omen doesn't do jack squat. But yeah, what I'm trying to get at here is it's gonna be a lot less resourceful to having uni downs. Personally, I think attacks are going to be a lot more frequent now. Right before Unison battle starts, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more attacking instead of that. Because, like, nobody's going to be there will be people rocking Unison down moves. But Unison down moves have become a lot less resourceful thanks to this. So that's what I gotta say about Imperial Territory. Maybe we'll see Unison down still. We will definitely not see it as much as it used to be out. Okay, so moving on from there, we got Glistening Edge. Glistening Edge is legitimately the second hardest hitting move of the game. Usable only when a sword is equipped as your main weapon. It has an ability power of 130. It deals physical damage that penetrates through any nullifying or vulnerability effects. So it goes through all those nulls and all that, just like the archer skill tree. So it's very, very strong because it goes through that, and only the archer and the soldier can go through that. And they have on top of it really deadly moves to really support that. And it attacks 5 times, and then fills your character's unison gauge by 3. So that's very, very nice. It also fills your unison gauge by 3 plus the amount that you would be receiving by attacking whatever you're attacking. So that is extremely nice. Seriously, that really is. And literally, this is like the second best move. This is tied with Kill Dance. If you look at this and Kill Dance, they both have an ability power of 130 and they damage 5 times. If I could show you right over here, they have it right here. See, the only difference between this and Kill Dance is that other one's actually control, so you're targeting one person. Kill Dance is semi-crowd control, so it can turn out to be very useful. It can turn out to be useful or may not be able to be useful at all. There's more risk involved with Kill Dance than there is Glistening Edge, so that's pretty much what I gotta say. Like, it's legitimately the second strongest move, ability power wise, or just heavy hitting wise in the game. Legitimately tied with Kill Dance. So that's how strong Glistening Edge is. And on top of it's got the nullifying and invulnerability effects. I personally would highly recommend throwing this on. If you already don't have this on, I personally would highly recommend throwing this on as a soldier, because this right here is completely 100% nasty. Legitimately a very, very nasty move. Okay, so moving on from there, we have the Sword of Malice. Sword of Malice, 220 ability power, only hits 1 time, and then it also has like a nullifies heals to gouge reduction, but it's only going to be for your character. This could or could not be useful in guild battles depending on the situation. Like, if you get sent to Crystal Recovery first and then you're about to have a Unison battle the next round, it's obviously not going to work out to your benefit unless this is a really fast hitting move. I'm talking like Deadly Roulette fast hitting. You're not going to be able to get the nullifies heals to gouge, because it only works for that and you have to attack. So it's not like something you can just throw on at any time giving. So this could definitely be used in like guild battles, but I'm not 100% sure. Other than that, I personally don't recommend throwing this move on. Again, I'm just gonna say it again, I would only really recommend it for guild battles because it does that in the first place. Okay, so moving on from there, we have Divine Eye. Increases your character's attack ability accuracy by 30% for 20 seconds. I'll talk about why this is there in a second. I personally don't think this is a 100% good idea, but it does combo off with something in the skill tree. So yeah. Anyways, moving on from there, Glorious Guard. Glorious Guard is another reason why, or the stuff like Glorious Guard is another reason why Soldier is also very meta, is because we have a lot of damage reflection, damage reductions, we got nulls, we got all this stuff, legitimately all this stuff, and then the Soldier has a unique defensive capability or skill that will help take damage. Seriously, it is phenomenal. This is the only one that doesn't get like, this is the only one you can't go through with Piercer or Nullifies or any of that stuff, at least I believe. So yeah, and it's not just this, it's like Knight's Devotion, Knight's Loyalty, stuff like that. Stuff like that will really help. So, well, depending on the situation, it'll help. I'm not gonna say it's gonna really help, but that's for like player versus player, player versus enemy. This is not going to be really useful at all. It can be helpful depending on the situation or strategy you are using. So definitely more player versus player orientated. I'd stay away from this completely for player versus enemy. This is not even debatable. So yeah. Okay, so right here we have the last move, Tidal Wave. It's only usable when an axe is equipped as a weapon. Has an ability power of 200, deals physical damage to a single enemy 3 to 6 times with a success value of 70. There's a lot of rates involved with that. But 200 for each and every hit, if it manages, like if it like legitimately hit 5 times with a success value of 90, this would be a heavier hitting move than possibly even the archers, astrolopes. Seriously, that is nasty. That is beyond nasty. That is legitimately could be the like, if you manage to get all 6 hits, it's legitimately going to do the most damage out of any move in the game, all hands down, no questions asked. Of course, there's going to be rates, so it can hit anywhere from 3 to 6 times, and that success value of 70 means that probably anywhere between 1 of the or 2 of those hits are going to miss all the time. So that does suck, but that's why this is also here, right here, Divine Eyes, to help make sure when you're actually attacking with Tidal Wave that you're actually hitting a lot more. So the only thing that really varies rate wise is how many times Tidal Wave would actually be hitting instead. So that's mainly the purpose behind Divine Eye. but that right there is pretty much the main reason why Divine Eye exists and how it's going to be useful overall. So yeah, as you can see right here, soldiers are really nasty. They got extra player versus player stuff going with them, and then on top of it, if it isn't enough already, they're going to have, they are not going to have, but they already have a new move right here, Glistening Edge, and it does so much damage. It's legitimately like the second hardest hitting move in the game, legitimately, and it goes to nullifying or invulnerability effects. So this is a very nasty class. If you aren't going archer, if you're thinking about soldier or archer, I definitely recommend looking into those classes, because again, those classes are like legitimately meta. Like, you're seeing soldiers and archers everywhere nowadays, at least I think. I'm not 100% sure because my algorithm system is different than yours, so I'm fighting different guild battles, and I'm like personally possibly fighting more than just like the and I'm let me cut that part. And I'm also going to be fighting possibly different people in the Coliseum. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope this helped out, and I will catch you in the next video. This is the AzureWrath, and I'm out. Peace.